What's up? It's your boy Michael Delaney coming to you live from the Bone Zone here at Motul Petit Le Mans. I mean, that's about as good as it gets, man. If you didn't like that, you do not like sports car racing. Petit Le Mans is probably, to me, I mean, this is why it's the best race on the IMSA calendar. By the way, this is going to be David Waffles about GTP for about 10 minutes, so apologies to the other classes. We're gonna skim over it just a little bit. But if you enjoy IMSA content, which boy oh boy did a lot of people let me know that they enjoy my IMSA content this weekend, both on the track and on the interwebs, be sure to subscribe to this channel because planning on doing more IMSA next year. Certainly going to be at the Rolex 24 once again for the first time in I think 2 or 3 years. So really looking forward to that and continuing coverage of this fabulous series. And it really is fabulous. The term virtual energy has been memed to death. In fact, Magnus Racing even memed it with a livery that they were running and only made about half a lap in the race today. But I thought the virtual energy battle, the fuel mileage battle, if you come from any other form of racing, at the end of this race was just about as good as it gets. I mean, the tension, the fact that, and I should point this out because I think a lot of people are beginning to point this out, IMSA nailed the BOP for the last race. I mean, genuinely, just about every car in GTP had a chance to win. Did they nail it in GT? No, they didn't. But in GTP, just about every car ran up front and just about every car had a chance to win the race. And that's how it's supposed to work, I think, especially with all of the professional factory teams that run in this series. So for me, really couldn't get any better. So the overall winners of Petit Le Mans, number 31 Whelen Cadillac, that's Jack Aitken, Earl Bamber, Frederick Vesti. They go back-to-back to finish out the season, both here and at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 2 Enduros to finish the season. And it's really been great for them because obviously Cadillac has struggled quite a bit globally in sports car racing this year, but especially in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, and especially Wayne Taylor Racing. That team's going to have to do some soul searching over the course of the off-season because that's what's going on there. LMP2 was won by the TDS Racing team. They also go back-to-back. They were qualified on the pole yesterday, but then were thrown out for a technical infraction. Kind of sounds like something similar that happened to Meyer Shank Racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The difference was with TDS, they got the W. GT Pro was the Paul Miller Racing, number 48. They qualified on the pole position as well and were able to bring it home after a battle with their year-long rival, the Corvette. Wow, incredible. I can't believe it. And in GTD, it was the AF Corsa car, which was driven across the line by Alessandro Pierguidi, a former overall winner at Le Mans. Lilo Wadou wins in class, the first female class winner here since Liz Halliday in 2005, driving for Intersport Racing in LMP2, co-driver John Field, who will be back here next year in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship with that same team next year. So let's talk about GTP. Let's just go in depth as in depth as I want to go. The Whelen car was one of the fastest cars all week. Let's not make any bones about it. Haha. I think I was a little bit surprised about their cool weather pace, right? Like that is always the question mark on this race in the 12 hours of Sebring, which end in the dark. Now at the Rolex at Le Mans, it doesn't necessarily matter what your pace when it's cold is, because if you have to go fast, you want to do it in the day because that's when the race ends. Well, the race ends in the dark here, and typically the Cadillacs haven't been as good as the turbocharged cars that they race against. That was not the case here. The Whelen engineering team just did a fantastic job, just had the pace. In fact, the minute it cooled off, they went right to the front. It was a battle early on in the race with the number 60 Meyer Shank Racing Acura that qualified on the pole. But once they cleared them, it looks pretty dominant, of course, until we got to all of the fuel mileage shenanigans towards the end of the race. I think it was fantastic. What a great way for them to finish off the season. I think it gives them incredible momentum going into the Rolex 24 and really for the 2026 IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship season. And I think there's an argument to be made, kind of like I mentioned with Wayne Taylor Racing. I mean, there's some soul searching that needs to be done there. And I think the questions are really, why is Whelen able to do what Wayne Taylor can't? And I guess we'll answer that come January in Daytona. Aston Martin Harder Racing, the Valkyrie. Second place, their best global result to date with that car, their first podium globally. Of course, that car races in the World Endurance Championship as well as here in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Ross Gunn, Alex Riberas, and Roman DeAngelis, who had an absolute monster of a last stint. They actually were able to jump the number 6 Penske Porsche in the pits. And it was really a crazy strategy call that got them there. They decided to gamble on something that Petit Le Mans, at least in recent years, has typically not provided, which is a green flag finish, a green flag run to the finish. And they got that. They pitted early. They were able to get some clean track, clean air. And the Aston Martin comes home second, some 3.5 seconds behind the Whelen Engineering Cadillac. And make no mistake about it, this was a fuel mileage result, but it was not due to lack of pace. In fact, the Aston Martin in the night practice was fastest overall, and they were legit fast. I mean, the minute it cooled off, much like the Whelen car, although I would say even more to an extent than the Whelen car, they just started passing people. They passed the Meyer-Shank car. They passed both of the Penske Porsches on track. They passed the BMWs, the Lamborghini, although the Lamborghini we'll talk about in just a second. And it's great to see this. You know, we were covering the first race for the Valkyrie here in the States at the 12 Hours of Sebring, and Alex Riberas mentioned this in our interview with him this weekend, is that they were just hoping to finish races. They weren't hoping to challenge for victories or podiums. And by the end of the first season for this program, the first LMH car to race here in the States, for them to get a P2 against the Whelen Cadillac, which has come on so strongly at the end of the season, that spells very good things for Aston Martin and Heart of Racing going into next year. I think we're so excited to see where that LMH car goes. Penske Porsche number 6, they are the IMSA champions for the season. That, of course, means that it's the 48th overall championship for Team Penske, which is incredible. In fact, since 2012, they've won something like a quarter of the championships they've entered. It's just been across all of racing. It's absolutely insane. And that means they get a Le Mans invite. And we'll talk about what that means and the implications of that, as you guys know, shortly. Lamborghini. I mentioned Roman DeAngelis' incredible drive at the end of this race. The same goes for Romain Grosjean. And he's been a hot shoe ever since that Lamborghini program took off. And for Grosjean, it's a bittersweet one. This whole thing's bittersweet with Lamborghini because the program comes to an end as of the checkered flag here at Petit Le Mans. They put an Evo Joker kit on the car. It's clearly competitive now, and if not for a slight miss in the fuel, the virtual energy, they could have finished second, possibly won this race. Man, oh man, oh man. It's such a shame. It's such a shame for Lamborghini because this program had such promise. There were so many expectations. It was a dual program between the World Endurance Championship and in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. It became only a one-car program here just for the Endurance Cup run by Riley Motorsports, but they totally turned that program around. And it's good that they got a result, 4th place, but that program ends without a podium and without a win. And I suppose we'll talk real quick. I have to go to a second page. Unbelievable. Acura. They were on the pole position. A lot of people were picking them as the favorites. Mechanical issues really hampered them. The 93 car was really nowhere the entire race because they had some electronics issues. They had some troubles with the gearbox throughout the race. The 60 was also reported to have mechanical issues, although I wonder if the Acuras didn't look like they were as good once the track cooled off. That looked like a big issue for them, and it's a shame because typically Acura has been good at this race. I mean, I'm looking at the board right now, and there's 2 Acuras that have won in the last 3 years, but it wasn't meant to be today, and that means they miss out on the Manufacturers' Championship. That goes to Porsche as well. So a little bit of housekeeping here at the end. I wanted to talk about the Le Mans invites. Of course, Penske Porsche number 6 wins the IMSA Championship. They get a Le Mans invite, but if there's not 2 Porsches entered with factory blessing in the World Endurance Championship, Penske cannot use that invite to enter Le Mans next year. So there's going to be a lot of drama in the offseason. Now, that being said, Porsche did mention that they would support any customer team that chose to enter 2 cars in the World Endurance Championship next year, and thus that would open up the loophole for Penske to enter a Porsche at Le Mans next year with this automatic invite. So we'll see what goes on there. PJ Hyatt won in the auto invite in LMP2. That will most likely mean he will enter his AO Racing. And Ore Fidani, I think I said that right. He drives for AWA Racing, which becomes, I think, like something called 13 Autosport or something like that next year. The team got sold, but he won the GTD auto invite. So we expect an extra Corvette at Le Mans next year. We closed the book on another IMSA season. It's been fun. Again, like I said, I'm looking forward to covering more of this series next year. And that's really kind of the end of at-the-track race coverage for this year, too, between IMSA and IndyCar. I'll be working the Super Nats for Kart Chaser out in Las Vegas. I'll also be attending the Formula One race as a fan, but that's as a fan. We've still got some testing to go at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indy cars. We'll be back in Indy, back home again in Indiana on Monday for a group test on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Mick Schumacher is the big headliner, driving for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, a bunch of other drivers as well. We'll have full coverage of that. The week after that is an oval test at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and you guys know that's kind of my bread and butter. So lots of on-track stuff still to go, some testing throughout the rest of the year. But for racing, this is it until Daytona. I can't believe it. So sad. But appreciate you guys sticking with me all year long. It's been a lot of fun. Incredible growth to the channel. Incredible growth here in the paddock. Thanks to everybody who came up and said hi this weekend. And thanks to everybody in this industry. Genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, this has been a truly amazing year. Thanks to Kyle, Joe, Matt, Luke, everybody who worked for me this year in some capacity. Been fantastic. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. We'll see you on Monday for testing from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and from one of my favorite races all year long. We'll see you in the next video.